It was one of those cold, gray mornings where everything feels heavier than it should. The kind of day where the sky looks like it's been holding back tears, just like so many people walking the streets. I was in town for a meeting, just a quick business trip to Chicago, but something happened that morning that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. I had arrived a day early and checked into a small boutique hotel away from the bustle. It wasn't fancy, but it had charm, real charm, not the kind you pay extra for. The front desk clerk had recommended a little diner around the corner for breakfast. Said it was where the locals went, and I always trusted the locals more than any Yelp review. I walked in and the bell over the door gave a little jingle. The place smelled of bacon, brewed coffee, and syrup. It felt warm, like a hug. There were only a few people there, mostly older folks chatting about the weather and baseball. I took a booth by the window. A woman, maybe in her late 20s or early 30s, came over to take my order. Her hair was tied back in a loose ponytail, and her apron looked like it had been through more than just spilled coffee. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Good morning," she said softly. "What can I get you?" "Just coffee for now," I said. "And maybe your favorite thing on the menu." She looked surprised by that, then chuckled gently. "Most people just want the pancakes." "Then pancakes it is," I smiled. As she turned to leave, I noticed a little girl sitting quietly in a corner booth. She couldn't have been more than 6. She had a knit hat pulled low over her head, and even from where I sat, I could see how pale she was. Her legs were pulled up under her, and she clutched a small stuffed bunny to her chest like it was her anchor. I watched the woman glance back at the girl as she went behind the counter. There was something in her face, a mix of worry and exhaustion I recognized too well. My wife had looked at me like that when our son was sick, all those years ago. That's a pain you never really forget, no matter how many years pass. I sipped my coffee and tried to focus on my emails, but I kept glancing over. After a while, the woman came back with my plate. "Pancakes, extra syrup," she said, setting them down gently. "Thank you," I said. Then I hesitated before asking, "Is that your daughter?" She looked at me quickly, surprised. Then she nodded slowly. "Yeah. Her name's Lily. She's not feeling too good today, so I couldn't leave her home." "She looks like a strong kid," I said. That's when her eyes welled up, and she quickly looked away, pretending to wipe her hands on her apron. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "It's just been a hard morning." I felt something in my chest twist. "Would you like to sit for a second?" She looked unsure, like she wasn't supposed to. But then she glanced around. No one else needed anything at that moment, and she sat across from me, just for a moment. "Lily's been in and out of the hospital for months," she began. "Leukemia. She just started a new round of chemo. It's been rough on her." I listened quietly. Sometimes, people don't need advice. They just need to be heard. "I work double shifts most days," she continued. "The hospital bills keep piling up, and even with insurance, it's just never enough." Her voice cracked, and she covered her mouth with her hand. "I don't want her to see me cry," she whispered. "I try to stay strong for her." "She's lucky to have you," I said gently. She nodded, wiping her eyes. "I just want her to get better." We sat in silence for a moment, just the clinking of forks and the hum of the coffee machine in the background. Then she stood up suddenly, like she'd stayed too long. "I'm sorry," she said again. "I didn't mean to." "No, thank you," I said. for sharing that with me." She nodded and went back behind the counter. I finished my breakfast slowly, all the while thinking about my own family. My son, who had beat the odds, and my wife, who never stopped believing. I walked up to the register to pay. She rang me up quietly. "Would you mind if I gave Lily something?" I asked. She looked confused. "What do you mean?" I pulled out a business card and wrote something on the back. "This is me," I said. "I run a foundation, the Hamilton Trust. We help families with medical expenses, especially for children. It started when my son got sick. We were lucky, and now I try to pass that luck on." Her hands trembled slightly as she took the card. I could see her eyes scanning the name. Recognition flickered across her face. She looked up at me with disbelief. "I've heard of this foundation," she said slowly. "I didn't know you were." "Just a guy who came in for pancakes," I said with a smile. Tears spilled down her cheeks then, no longer held back. She didn't speak for a moment, just covered her mouth and cried. "You don't have to worry about Lily's bills anymore," I said quietly. "We'll take care of them. And we'll get her the best care possible." She started to protest, but I stopped her gently. "It's already done," I said. "All I ask is that you take care of yourself too. Lily needs her mom healthy and strong." She nodded, overwhelmed, still crying. The other customers had begun to notice, but no one said anything. It was like everyone felt the weight of the moment. Lily had come up to her mother by then, tugging gently at her apron. "Mommy, why are you crying?" The woman crouched down and hugged her tight. "Because someone just did something really, really kind." I knelt down next to them, looking Lily in the eyes. "Hey, Lily. You like stuffed animals?" She nodded shyly. "I think we can find you some new ones. And maybe even a puppy, if that's okay with Mom." Lily grinned for the first time. "A real puppy?" "If you want one," I said. As I left the diner that morning, the cold air didn't bite quite as hard. The sky had started to lighten, just a little. And for the first time in a while, I felt something stir inside me. Hope, maybe. The truth is, money can't fix everything. But sometimes, it can ease the burden just enough to let love and healing do the rest. And sometimes, all it takes is breakfast and a moment of listening to change someone's life forever.